The ending of it just made me think of like my old outro, and God, cringe.
What was your old outro?
It was like, thanks for watching, don't forget to like the video if you like the video, comment if you have any suggestions for me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, it's the thing! You used to do that!
It was something like that, I can't remember.
Yeah!
For what video?
For your old YouTube channel!
So now we've got a cold open for this video.
Hello, welcome to the Valley. My name is Sami.
My name is Ash Medica.
I'm Matthew.
Last episode we were talking about musical theatre, and I just thought we'd continue it into another video. We ended up talking about musical theatre stage Fumbles, and I've got a couple of ones that I thought I would sprinkle in here as well. So there's two big ones that I'll go through now. The first one, we were talking about like falling into set pieces and like backing into stuff. So this happened during Wicked. There was this big scene, March of the Witch Hunters, where we're all in a line and we're like, kill the witch! And then the stage kind of goes dark and then we kind of back away, right? And it goes into Elphaba's castle, right? And what happened is these two big sets were meant to fly in once we sort of clear the stage. But this night, I think it was a COVID thing, not quite sure what happened, but pretty much what happened was the flies went in too early as we're backing up. So I'm backing away with like a weapon or a sign or something, and I see this thing in my peripherals just kind of dropping, and I was like, that's the set, I need to move now. And so I'm like backing up as quick as I can, I get off into the wings, but then I see my friend who's out on stage and the thing drops and she hits it. She walks straight into it. And then you kind of hear the audience go, and then she kind of like stops and like awkwardly shuffles off the stage again. Because the thing about Wicked as well is we only had 2 wings on either side. Normally that theatre has 4 wings on either side, but we had 2 of the front wings were taken up by the towers. Then the off-prompt side, the second wing was taken up by the lift that dropped Elphaba down when she melted. And then on the prompt side, the front was obviously the tower, and the third wing was taken up by the flies. So we only had 2 wings on either side, 2 of the back ones, and then the middle, so the middle one and the end one on that side. So pretty much when those flies went down, there was 2 girls on either side who ran into them and had to kind of awkwardly shuffle off. And they had to fill out incident reports, and I think one of them had like big cuts and stuff all down her shoulder and stuff, because it was like very revealing clothing, like steampunky kind of clothing we were wearing as well. And that was just awful. I felt so bad for them and stuff, but like it was really no one's fault because we were like down a flyman or something. So like, you know, middle of 2021, what can you do kind of thing. Yeah. My second little fun story, we did Beauty and the Beast, and I was a knife, and we were doing Be Our Guest. And we did this big, like, you know, course by course, big kick line, yeah? And so the person next to me was a cheese grater. So she had this big, like, cheese grater costume on and, like, a little bit of foam cheese on a headband.
The classic cheese grater character from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's favourite. Lumiere, cheese grater. And so we did this big kick line, and I'm like, duh, duh, and as soon as I go like this, I accidentally knocked her cheese off her head. But luckily, what happened is when I went like this, it falls and I'm able to catch it. So I'm kind of like awkwardly holding it here, thinking like, oh my god, what am I like gonna do? I'm doing this kick line, but I'm holding this cheese, and now she's just a grater with no cheese. What's gonna happen? And so we get out of the kick line, and I go to hand it to her. But as I hand her the cheese, I look, and she's gone. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this cheese? I'm a knife. Where do I put the cheese? And so I'm like, and so I run to my next position, and as I'm on the way, I like just throw it off into the wings, and then I get into my next position. And I just like, I would have loved to see the look on that person's face of just like this flying cheese flying from the stage into the wings, and then them being like, what do I do with this? Where do I put this? And that was my other little stage fumble. But you know, I got through it all right. So,
wow.
Yeah.
See, professionalism, like we were talking about last time.
Ding! Buzzwords. Anything you want to talk about, Ash?
Ask me a question.
I can bring up a sort of fumble that Ash has had.
Oh no! What?
And
Okay.
this is not an attack in any way, shape, or form.
That's fine.
Matt came here for blood.
It's only taken one episode to get here.
Yeah.
So, the first, like we talked about last time, we all worked together through Ghostlight. So, the one Ghostlight show that we've all done together was called Hits and Bits. It was a musical review with some of the hits from musicals and some
of the
other
bits.
songs. And some of the bits. So, one of the songs I got to perform as a lead vocalist was Greased Lightning. And so, as we all know, Greased Lightning opens with the whole, this car is automatic, bang, etc., etc. And so...
I was like, what did Ash fuck up? I know.
So we get through the entire sort of rehearsal process, getting up to rehearsing with our backing tracks, which it was always a bit off because the Bluetooth speaker we were using when we were rehearsing wouldn't actually play that first bang. So I would have to like say the line and then assume the music was there and then continue with the next line. And so we get to actually rehearse at our venue, and it is highlighted that, alright, remember, Matthew, you say the line, then we start the music. And so we get to the one performance that we do of the show, and it's alright, so everyone feel free to get up and boogie. Our next song is Greased Lightning. So I'm preparing myself at the microphone, and I just hear, bang, and I'm like, okay, music started early. Let's just keep rolling with this.
Automatic.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, we got through it. There's no bad blood. It's a brilliant story.
Oh no, it was like, because I think I was next to you or near you or something.
Yeah,
and you were just kind of like, automatic. And then Ash was like, I'm so sorry.
No, it could have ended so badly, but you saved it, so well done.
We got through it. That's what's important.
No, you did really well. I could have messed you up, but you saved it.
See, professionalism.
Yeah,
It's
buzzword.
the word of the day.
Other than that, have you had any mishaps, Ash?
Okay. I had a little bit of a fumble. It was like, we.
My straw just made a noise, and I
Oh my god.
laughed.
Basically, you guys know how we did Wicked in 2021.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. And
It was great to see live. I got to see it. I felt very lucky to see it, considering how condensed the show run was.
Yeah, we were meant to do 8 shows. We lost the last 3 because of COVID, because literally the lockdown hit on the Thursday night of our final week.
yeah, we got to squeeze our last Thursday night show in.
And we pretty much sold out the whole theatre, balcony included, because people were just like, this is the last time I'll get to see this. And it literally, like, we hit lockdown 12 o'clock that night, so people from Melbourne had to leave the theatre at 11 o'clock to race down to get back home. It was just awful. But yeah, sorry, you go on with the story.
Okay, so I played guitar in the pit, and I was with Nathan Perry. We were both on the same guitar book. And it gets to, like, the big moment in Defying Gravity, and the part that's like, dun 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 dun. And I played it. I started singing it, I was like, no, that's not the fucking
Flintstones,
theme.
beat the Flintstones.
Look at them, they're defying gravity.
No! I started... Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I started singing, I was like, no, that's not it.
I've completely derailed this. I am so sorry.
No! Well, I was just gonna say...
It gets to the big bit of defying gravity.
It gets to the big bit of Defying Gravity.
You know,
it's
Barney
like,
Rubble and I don't know.
yeah, so it's
Dino,
like...
Bam Bam.
No! Oh my god. Let's resume, okay?
Yeah, we're talking about
So-
fumbles.
So we get to the big chorus part of Defying Gravity. You know, the part everyone knows. And I start playing in a semitone out because, and you know, me and Nathan are on the same book. So I'm playing it one semitone out. He's playing at the right friggin' pitch. So it sounds like shit. And it was my last performance too. So I felt so bad. And then I felt like I couldn't redeem myself because it was our last show. So I left feeling unhappy with how I played. And then, yeah.
I was really sick that final show, and I also feel like I was like, let's just give it my all. But I also felt like I could have done better, and that's really unfortunate because again we lost the 3 shows. But don't let that one show rule, like, because you got 5. We got 5 shows in. We lost 3, but the main thing is we got 5 in. You know what I mean? Like, did you mess up every single night in that part? No, you did it. I know that one night. Like, it doesn't matter if the redemption comes before or after that moment that you fucked it up. But if you have the whole first week was great, then that should still count for the second week, and you should but you know, feel good about what you did do. You know what I mean? Search for that redemption, but you don't necessarily need it because you still did the whole bloody thing.
Thanks, buddy.
I was gonna say. Special moments. What are some special moments that you've had on stage that you're like, wow, this feels amazing?
Aww.
Or in the pit, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, I have one.
Yep.
It was our opening night for Les Mis, and when we got to I Dreamed a Dream, I cried. It was actually so beautiful.
So, I Dreamed a Dream, it was this beautiful moment. Fontaine was obviously singing, but then they had the sets in the background with these bars. And we had our featured dancer do like a little ballet number in the background, and it was beautiful. She came on, I think, like when the tigers come at night. And she walks on, she does this beautiful scene with, she's wearing the same dress as Fontaine as well, this like beautiful maroon, like long dress. And she's dancing and like acting out everything that Fontaine sang, and then she kind of leaves before the end of the song. But there was this one section in it where Fontaine is like doing the shame. Oh. And on that you know, rising up bit, the dancer was doing these massive turns, and like the dress was just like, and then she finally comes out of it and crumples down to like a little ball, and then does this. Oh, it was just beautiful. We were watching it on the TV screens downstairs. Chills. Like, I was literally almost in tears in the final night. It's just such a powerful moment. So like, you didn't see that, but that was just like the music, everything was just linking up in that time. So yeah.
Wow. Matt, what about you?
I can think of 2 key things. So my first professional amateur show, that sounds a bit weird to say, but my first show with sort of a named theatre company that was like big in the area. So they had this thing which was their Rising Star Award. So for sports people, I would assume it's like your best and fairest.
I got one of those. Is that what that means?
I think so.
Oh.
It's like first timers with the company who has done a standout job.
That makes sense why I got it. Not because I was good, just because I was new.
So
sorry.
My very first show with the company, I've given so much of myself to be in the role and do what I can do. And it gets to the very end in our like awards night thing, and I get presented with this award, and I completely break down because like it was my first time actually feeling like I'd done theatre in a somewhat professional standing. Not to say anything bad about the other companies I'd done theatre with before that, but it was the first time where it had been like a strict, full, sort of complete company. The other time that I can think of is like last year with American Idiot rehearsals. American Idiot has been, and I've said this to so many people, it's been the fastest a full cast has come together as a group. Like, yes, there's still small friend groups throughout it, but everyone is there for everyone. and it's the most welcomed I've felt in a theatre company in the longest time.
What I will say, I think, like, I've always said this, I've always felt like 2 punk rock for musical theatre and 2 musical theatre for punk rock. And so American Idiot has been this great clash of, like, both those worlds. But I also think, like, not so much that we're all young. Most of us just really care about Green Day. We care about the music because it's meant a lot to us. So we just want to bring that passion to the show. A lot of us are already friends from previous shows, but also, like, a lot of us have the mindset of we want to make this such a special show for us and everybody else involved. And so, like, me personally, I try to make everyone as involved as possible. So yeah, I would completely agree. Like, I don't think we've had maybe 1 or 2 little cast get-togethers, but everything else has been pretty much at rehearsals. And we've just kind of really banded together and just grown together as a cast. I think only within like a month and a half of actually doing rehearsals last year before we got cancelled and pushed back to this year. And even now, we haven't even started rehearsals again, and we're already just itching to get back.
It started with auditions for me, really, because like I was new to the company. So me and one of my friends, we've come up and we've done our audition and we don't know anybody else there. But everyone else who knew each other from Wicked and from past shows that they'd done together were all just sitting around outside of the audition venue. And they were like, oh, come on over, sit down, join us. And like just automatically feeling opened, like being brought into a group where normally it would just be, oh, these people are new, we don't know anything about them, just leave them to their thing and we'll keep talking.
I wanted to say as well, the audition process for American Idiot, something like it was like nothing else I'd done before. Usually I'm like terrified with auditions. For American Idiot, I was ready. I was like, I'm going to kick down this door and like the role that I want is going to be mine. Not in an egotistical way. I was just kind of like, I'm going to, you know, prove to these people that like this role is like best suited for me. And like even to the point where like we were in dance auditions and I was like, I want to give everyone as fair a shot as possible. So like Nick, who was standing next to me in dance auditions, I was like helping him out with the moves because I was like, I want you to, you know, be a part of this and stuff. Like I don't want you to feel left out and like everyone else is kind of above you. It was really, really small. It was a very small audition pool as well, which I was a little bit like, oh, and I think that's why we all banded together so well. But the other thing as well, so there were callbacks for a couple of the characters, and there was a callback for St. Jimmy. It was me and Nick. And
Kobe and I were standing on the sidelines because we had callbacks for Will and Tunny.
Yeah. And so me and Nick are doing this callback, and they're like, hey, we're going to get you to sing along to this song, and they play St. Jimmy from the show. And I was like, literally running laps around Nick singing this song, because I was like, just so energetic and like, I need to have this moment and stuff. But then they were like, okay, well, Sami knows it, so you can go first and show Nick how it's done. So I sing it, and they were like, yep, cool, awesome.
You didn't just sing it; you performed it.
I
Man.
performed.
Like you had actions. I can still remember like your whole. I can't remember if it was like, oh, I just remember seeing like this move somewhere.
Oh my
There
God.
was like a little crown as well. Yeah, it was performed. It was
Wow.
like performance ready, right? And then Nick gets up and he's like kind of still learning it. So he was kind of reading from the book, and I was like standing next to him being like, oh yeah, and then this note goes up, this note goes down. Like I was helping him learn it and stuff because I was like, at the end of the day, I want what's best for this show. This is my dream role, but if their vision is different to me, then I'm going to respect that, and I want what's best for this show. Like, I'll be upset about it, sure, but it's for the show. That's where my love is, pretty much. So, yeah, that's why I was sort of helping him out and teaching it to him and that kind of stuff. And then we all went back around to my place afterwards to get the calls and that kind of thing. And we had a bit of a night and some cheese and biscuits and stuff. And just
I had to go to work.
Yeah, you were like,
I was on shift when I got the call.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we all went back to mine, we ate some stuff, and then we all got the calls. I remember I was standing in the hallway, and I got the call, and I was like, shh, everyone just, hello, St. Jimmy, are you sure? And then as soon as I said St. Jimmy, everyone just erupts in like, yeah, and I'm like, fucking shut up, hello, but then I think Leanne, she's like, yeah, congratulations, and then hung up on me, and then everyone else was getting their calls and stuff. And I just, like, everyone else was really quiet. It was like, oh, sorry, like, we had really bad reception because I think Leanne had bad reception. So like we all had to go out to the hall and that kind of thing and to hear her and stuff. But as she's calling all of us, like everyone else was really quiet. But as soon as I got the St. Jimmy phone call, everyone just erupted in like cheers and stuff to the point where I couldn't hear Leanne. We had Wicked rehearsals the next day, and I went there, and the choreographer comes up to me and goes, "I heard you had an excellent audition yesterday." He was like, "I heard very impressive things." And Leanne came up to me and she was like, "We loved your audition, but you know, just tone it down a notch or two for the performance." And I was like, "Can do, Leanne. More than happy." So yes, I'm just so excited to get back into it. I'm just over the moon. Yeah.
To sort of jump off my derailing, this is something that I have opinions about, and I'm not sure if you would both agree or disagree with
I
them.
love hearing a good opinion.
What is something that I've noticed a lot in sort of the new musical landscape of things that are coming to stage, to West End, to Broadway, is movie adaptions.
Yes, I have.
What are the
thoughts about
opinions
this.
on...
My whole thing, I think Hamilton works really well, like where they filmed the stage show. I get why they don't do that more often because they want people to go out and see the stage show. However, everyone can access Hamilton, but people are still buying Hamilton tickets because there's still an allure of watching live theatre, right? Like people love watching football on TV, but people also love going to see the football. So I think what we really need is like, if there was a, not so much concert versions, but like an actual like filmed version of Wicked, of Cats, of Les Mis, of whatever, I think that's going to work a lot better. I need to share my thoughts about the movie Les Mis in a second as well. I've got plenty of thoughts, but yeah, I don't mind the movie adaptations if they're done well, but I think so
I'll let you finish your point, but I'll just quickly say, I meant the other way. Movies being turned into musicals.
Into musicals. Okay, well, yes, let's talk about that in a second. So, I'll get to my point in a second about Les Mis. So, I watched Les Mis before we did, or during Les Mis, while we were doing Les Mis. Anyway, do you know when I was in Les Mis?
Wait, you were in Les Mis?
I was in Les Mis. You
Wait.
were in Les Mis. Anyway, so, my biggest issue with the movie was the editing. Because when you're on stage, you have about 8 bars. For example, in the opening scene, it changes location quite a lot. So he's like in the chain gang, and then he leaves, and he's up a fucking mountain singing about shit, and then he's at the innkeeper, and then he jumps. When you're on stage, you've got 8 bars to travel from one side of the stage to the other, and now you're in a new location, you know what I mean? In the movie, he was literally leaving the chain gang, and then suddenly he's up a mountain. And for me as a viewer, that was very jarring. It's like, he's here, now he's here. Suddenly. With no explanation, no like, oh, he's here, and then he's here, and now he's on top of the mountain. It was just, he is here, now he's on top of the mountain. Because again, they only have the 8 bars, and to show that change in a movie is a lot trickier because you've got to kind of... You've
there
got
needs
to do
to be that
jump.
transition.
Yeah, you don't really have that transition like you would on a stage where it might feel natural. Whereas in a movie, you don't have that time to do that because you've got 8 bars, and those 8 bars are literally like, he's on the top of this mountain. You know what I mean? So that was very jarring for me. I think the most beautiful part in the whole movie was, at least editing-wise, was there was one continuous shot of Fontaine singing I Dreamed a Dream, and that was literally the best shot in the whole film because it just stayed on her face the whole time, did not move, did not do anything. All the other editing things just felt really jumpy and out of place sort of thing. As for movies becoming musicals, if it's the right thing, like Heathers, for example.
I have 2 in mind, Heathers and Mean Girls. And I honestly...
Beetlejuice.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, Heathers and Mean Girls are some of my favourite musicals, I would say.
See, for me, it's a thing of, if you're going to adapt something, you need to bring something new to it. Like, Beetlejuice adds so much more. Like, the whole, like, opening with Beetlejuice going, wow, such a departure from the source material. You can see from the start that, like, there is a difference. They're doing something different with it. But, like, there's some movies or some musicals that I look at and I'm like, why did this need to be a musical? Like, why was Back to the Future turned into the musical?
Okay,
I know.
that's a weird one.
What? I have to agree. I love Back to the Future. I don't really see that. Maybe I'll talk about this off camera. because like I'll talk about this off camera because I don't like it's an idea that I have and I don't want people stealing it. I'll talk about this off camera.
Okay.
But yeah, I think for the right movie and the right writer, it could work really well. But I don't think it suits every single movie. Like Back to the Future, it has got those musical elements and stuff, and it's 80s music, that kind of thing. But I just don't think it needs it because it's like, yeah. Whereas, what's a movie that would work really well as a musical? Name a movie that would work really well as a musical.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Harry Potter. A Harry Potter musical. It's already
It's already
done,
musical.
but,
Like,
that's the only one I can think of.
Oh, movie that should be turned into a musical.
yeah.
I'm gonna be really biased about this. I think they tried to make it happen, but it didn't really work. I would love to see a Road to El Dorado musical.
Ooh.
Oh.
That'd be good. That'd be
Okay.
good. I was going to say Batman, but they did that too, and the same company did it!
Well, okay. The other side of it is we've seen how that can go wrong with Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark.
Oh my god. The Spider-Man musical.
There was a professional Broadway Spider-Man musical written by Bono and The Edge of U2.
God.
What? How did I not know about that?
And I'm terrible with actors' names. The actor who plays Hades in Hadestown was the Green Goblin.
Okay.
But it was like biggest commercial flop, so many issues with the stunts, so many actors getting injured.
Ew.
Wasn't a good time.
Shall we continue this into another episode and maybe talk about big Broadway shows and all that sort of thing?
Okay.
Yeah.
One more episode? One more episode! We'll see you soon!
We're gonna be in for
See you in the next one.
Thank you.
Oh,